Across its 6 years of existence, Black Ops 4 has always been a game that most people hated, but I've always loved this game, ever since day one. In all of my time playing BO4 Zombies, I have racked up a ton of tips and tricks to help you get better at Easter eggs, high rounds, and I'll even go over tricks you can use on every single map in this game to make BO4 more fun to play. Whether you're a newer BO4 player or you're a seasoned vet like myself, I guarantee that you'll learn something new in this video. I'll go over tips for every single map in this game, but before we do, let's go over a few really OP tricks you can utilize on every map. First off, respawning zombies. When you're in a horde of zombies, you can pull out your specialist and any zombie that dies to it before you can use it will respawn. But since you technically killed them, you'll get XP for your specialist weapon. Now this is great, but let's take it one step further. If you pull out your specialist in a horde of zombies, but instead of leaving it out, you put it back away as soon as you see your specialist on your screen, the zombies will respawn, but it'll also give you most, if not all of your charge back for your specialist, so you can keep repeating this to get infinite points on a low round. If you jump and dash with the sword while you're in midair, you can do the dash attack while having full control of your character. One last specialist trick I'll go over in this video is any zombies that die to your equipment while you're holding your specialist weapon will give you XP towards the next level. It works with everything: Wraith Fires, Hell's Retriever, Homunculus, Acid Bombs, and so on. If you knife the perk machine at the same time that you buy it, you can skip the perk drinking animation, or fume huffing animation? This works with the Strife, the Vapor, and the melee specialist weapons like the Sword and the Chakrams. If you beat 9 or Voyage of Despair's Easter egg in under 90 minutes, you will have free doors in your future games. This works for every map besides Alpha, Omega, and Tagged or Toten. The only downside to this is if you ever close your BO4, you'll lose this effect and you'll have to beat 9 or Voyage again to get this back. But maybe you just suck at 9 and Voyage and you can't beat them to get the free doors. Well, lucky for you, I have tips to help you beat both of them. Let's start with 9. Did you know there is an Easter egg to take no fire damage? To do this, you need to build the acid trap and kill one of every catalyst, as well as a tiger with the acid trap. It doesn't have to be in the same activation or in the same round or anything. Just kill all 5 enemies with the acid trap and you can go on to the next step. Next, you want to buy the blade trap and slide under it without taking damage, and then finally, you want to return to the acid trap and do the same. Slide under it without taking damage, and if you did it, you should hear this sound. If you heard this, then you completed the Easter egg. Run over a stripper fire to activate your immunity, then after that, for the rest of the round, you will be immune to fire damage. The only downside to this is you have to reactivate your immunity on every stripper fire on every single round, but it's not a big deal. If you're having trouble with the raw lockdown where you need to kill zombies in a certain order, you can run depth perception to see the enemies through the walls and the floors. This way you don't accidentally run into a fire zombie and he blows up, failing to step. I have another really good trick that you can use on this step, but this tip I'm about to go over goes for all of 9, not just this Easter egg step. The Death of Orion is not a good wonder weapon for high rounds, or this Easter egg to be honest, but there is a really cool trick to make it viable. If you hold down your reload button and spam your shoot button, you can spam single fire shots of it. This might not seem too good on paper, but if you use this trick on like a Gladiator or a Blightfather, you'll be able to tell just how big a difference this is. One of the hardest steps in 9's Easter egg is the Gladiator lockdown in Zeus's challenge. This step can be really challenging, but anytime you kill an enemy on this map, your specialist will fully recharge. You can pair this with the armor the specialist gives you every single time you pull it out to basically have infinite armor. So anytime you lose your armor, put your specialist away and take out a tiger, then pull it back out. Those are the 9 tips I'll cover in this video, but by no means is that the end of them. So if you guys want another video like this, let me know in the comments. Now let's move on to Voyage of Despair. If you're having trouble getting the Kraken or the Homunculus from the mystery box, there's a secret trick you can do to get them every single time. This is gonna sound like a troll, but I promise you it's not. This is an actual thing. To do this, you need to have the clock step done and you need to be on round 9. This only works on round 9. From here, get to the last zombie in the round and crouch up against this guardrail in the 3rd class burst and hold your interact button. Now, without uncrouching or letting go of your interact button, you need to follow the exact route that I take. If the zombie catches up to you, then just stop and let Winter's Wail freeze him again. Either that or you can pull out your specialist, but whatever you do not uncrouch, do not get off this path, and do not let go of your interact button. If you do any of those 3 things, you'll have to restart your route. When you get to this part of the boat with the blood stain on it, you want to let go of your interact button, melee twice, uncrouch, and switch weapons, and if you did it right, you'll get the Kraken and the Homunculus for free. If you're having trouble getting the poison catalyst to drop the concentrated decay for the Easter egg, then don't go into poison lockdown until you get the Kraken. With it, you'll easily get it during this lockdown. And the last step, just before the boss fight, you have to go across the entire map and destroy icebergs in your way. This can be a really challenging step, but thankfully you can skip the last 3. Once you get to the mystery box location at the aft decks, throw a homunculus behind you and rain fire on the iceberg at the back of the poop deck. And there goes my armchair. Okay, interesting. After around 12 to 16 Hellion shots, you will get the white flash, completing this step. Doing it this way allows you to save ammo, and also it avoids a Blightfather spawn. Now let's move on to one of my favorite zombie maps, Blood of the Dead. There are a lot of cool tricks you can do in this map, and the first I'll show you is to get the shield and Pack-a-Punch on round 1. Knife 5 zombies on round 1, and then turn on the power and go into catwalk. Stab all the zombies along the way, and once you get to the recreation yard, be sure to shoot the warden to spawn him in. Also, don't go past this area so more zombies don't spawn. Take out the warden and grab his key, then make your way to the prison. Just be careful here because there is one zombie in the map that will be walking, and this zombie is the last zombie for round 1, so make sure you leave him alive. Once you're in the prison, go turn on the second power switch and grab the spectral essence and the shield door, and build the shield. To get Pack-a-Punch at this point, you'll need to make use of the next trick, which is getting free shield blasts. After you turn on both power switches, on every single round, one afterlife box around the map will be sparking. If you interact with it while holding your shield out, you will get max shield blast no matter if you have the normal shield or even the upgraded shield. Which, speaking of, upgrading the shield on co-op can be annoying, but there is a trick you can do so everyone can get it. When the person moving the box gets the blue keyhole, tell everyone to throw the tomahawk, and if they did it fast enough, they will get the upgraded shield.
Throw.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Makes no sense, but I love it. Also, bonus tip, just so you're ready for the box to move, the box in BO4 Zombies always moves between 5 and 9 hits of it. While you're feeding the dogs to get to Hell's Retriever, if you use the shield key on a zombie and follow him all the way until the dog eats him, you will get a shield charge for it. This is really helpful for beating this Easter egg on a low round. If you want to get rid of the Retriever, whether it's to get back to Monkey Bombs or even get the Wraith Fires, you can do the first 2 steps of the Hell's Redeemer quest, and when you tomahawk the wolf head, you'll get rid of the Retriever. A lot of people have trouble with getting the warden to open the secret room, but there's a way to do it every time. When the warden spawns in, lead him to taunting so he locks it, then hurry to knife the wall and run back down the stairs. While you're going back down the stairs, get your Monkey Bomb ready to throw. Around this time, the warden should be getting to you, so wait for the warden to get right up close to you, and throw the Monkey Bomb up the stairs and bank it off the left side of the Titan wallby. Also, don't chase after the warden, just let him do his thing up there. If you do this, it'll work every single time. Now we have some tricks for everyone's least favorite step, probably ever in zombies, which is the bird step. I'm gonna walk you through all 4 bird steps. For the first bird, he can only spawn in 3 areas, and those areas are above the cafeteria entrance, on a bookshelf in mob spawn, and behind the voltage meter near the second dog. Here's where things get crazy though. For the second bird, people think they need to check, I think it's 42 spawn locations, but that couldn't be further from the truth. If you go to the gondola and look out in the water in between rounds, you'll see a blue light go somewhere in the map. This light is telling you where the bird is at. If it goes to the left, then it's either at the roof or near spawn. If it goes straight ahead, then it's somewhere near the second dog or the showers. And if it goes to the far right, then it's at the warden's office, and so on and so forth. Also, if something happens to where you ended the round and can't get back to the gondola in time, you can also see it from the docks, but it's a lot harder to tell where it's going from here. Another huge tip I can give you is, don't use the shield only for visual cues, but also listen for audio cues. This shield allows you to listen for a pretty far distance and also through floors. For example, you can hear the bird on the roof from the infirmary,
investment doubles the return.
and you can hear the bird in the showers from outside the cafeteria. And one last clip I'll show you is, if you listen near Cola, you'll be able to hear the bird if he's near the Doc Skull location. For the fourth bird, he can only spawn near the warden's office, near the showers, or at docks. Normally, once you find him, you need to go into zombie blood and throw the retriever at him to get the chronorium. Well, when you find the bird, if you run behind a nearby wall, you can pop in plain sight to spawn him in. Doing it this way saves like 30 seconds, and also, it's 1 less shield blast you need for the Easter egg. After you place the chronorium in the warden's house, you need to do 5 challenges to get to the boss fight. Well, there's a way to tell what challenge you got right after you enter the code in the number panel. As soon as you enter the last digit, you have 5 seconds to run down to China Alley and look through the grate. If you see the lighthouse light flash over the top of this building, then you got one of the 2 challenges near spawn. If the light flashes through this middle row of windows, then you got the showers challenge, and if you got the docks challenge, then you'll see the light just shine there. And if you didn't see any of these, then by process of elimination, you got the warden challenge. Speaking of the warden challenge, in it you need to escort a ghost from the cafeteria to the orb right in front of the warden's office. Doing this can be challenging, especially on solo, but if you use the classic elixir, Now You See Me, the zombies will run away from the ghost while it's active. And on top of this, in co-op, if multiple people have it and pop it one at a time, you can easily breeze through this step. I got some tips for the docks challenge too. So first, you can shock the orb from behind the stairs here. It's a little tip, but it's nice to know. But I'm gonna tell you the actual way to do the Morse code. Around the map, you can find 3 buoys. One at the gondola, one outside this zombie spawn near the swordfish walleye, and finally outside the back window in the spawn room. If you look at these buoys with your shield out, it'll blink a number to you in Morse code. Add up all 3 numbers that you get from the buoys, and type the sum into the Morse code machine to beat it. I have one final trick for Blood of the Dead, and it takes place in the boss fight. You can manipulate where the warden spawned to make this boss fight even easier. When you first get into boss fight, you want to stand on the left side of the dark mechanism, as I'm doing in the gameplay. And once you hear a dog spawn, follow where I go, and the warden should spawn right in front of you. If you kill him fast enough, you can run to the corner diagonally across, and the warden should spawn here. From here, you can just keep running back and forth to kill the 4 wardens in phase 1 and the 8 in phase 2. Now we'll move on to one of the most polarizing maps in zombies, Dead of the Night. First, I'm going to show you 2 really easy Easter eggs that you can do on round 1 to make setting up in this map easier. In the east and west balconies, you can find 2 bookshelves, both of which having 2 books with symbols on them. If you interact with these 4 books in this order, you'll be rewarded with extra points, a double points, or even a free weapon like the cordite or the vapor. The second Easter egg takes place in the billiards room. You need to sink the balls on a pool table in the order from 1 to 9, and if you did it right, you'll be rewarded with a bonus points or a free elixir. Moving on to tips for the Easter egg itself. The Atlas puzzle only has 6 combinations. Before you start fooling with the Atlas puzzle, take a look at where the circles on the rings are. Match up yours to the same one on this cheat sheet, and turn the left, middle, and right wheels the amount of time your specific combination says to, and you'll beat it. I got a tip for the worst step in this Easter egg, the scratch mark step. My tip for this step is the sum of tally marks for every symbol will always be an odd number. If you combine this with the fact that the scratch marks can only spawn in sets of 3, 4, or 5, that means that these are all of the numbers that your scratch marks can equal to. With this information, you can figure out your symbol order pretty easily. Let me give you an example. In this game, the 2 symbols I already found had 7 and 13 tally marks. I found the final symbol, which I call Devilo. Yeah, I know it's weird. And found 2 sets of 5 tally marks, but I couldn't find the last one. Thanks to the aforementioned information, I know that my final total for this symbol is either 13 or 15, but since 13 is already taken, it has to be 15, which means this is the last symbol that I have to put into the telescope. Let's move on to everyone's favorite map in this game, Ancient Evil. This Easter egg is great, but with that being said, there are a few annoying things in it that I'll show you how to cheese. The first is the bullet sponge enemy, the Giganese. You can easily take him out by throwing shield spears at his head. If you ever did this Easter egg on solo, then you'll know that defending Raw on the Scepter and Sundial step is an enormous pain, but there is a way to cheese it every single time. To do it, you first need to give Raw the Hand of Homero. As soon as you do give it to him, do not kill any Spartoi or the skeletons, because if you do, then this won't work. Let the step fail, then walk all the zombies up with you all the way up to the Homero shrine and pick back up the hand. Now walk back to Raw with the zombies, ensuring that no zombies despawn. Once you get to around this doorway, run and give Raw the hand and run back to this area as quickly as possible. If done right, the only Spartoi that'll be alive are the ones that are currently chasing you. So as long as you don't kill any Spartoi or get too close to Raw, then you could just train them around the map for the next minute until you beat the step. With the last few maps in this game, there are really easy ways to get high rounds. I'll talk about Ancient Evil first, since it's technically an exploit and not an intended thing. In Ancient Evil's boss fight, every time you knock down Pegasus or Perseus, the round will advance. As long as you don't damage the boss with your specialist, then you can keep doing this to go to whatever round you want. I did this the other day and I found that the best strategy is to damage Pegasus just a little bit so the third island goes away, and then you can just keep knocking Pegasus over and over again, which is really easy with the Hellion because it only takes 2 shots from the Hellion to knock down Pegasus. Also, go into this with the Homunculus and the Battered Dragon Scale Talisman, and you can basically AFK because it's so easy. I did this whole quest and got round 100 this way, in under 2 hours, just so you understand how easy this is. One last tip for Ancient Evil: when you do high rounds, run Blood Wolf Bite in the modifier. But Joltz, why should I run it in the modifier? Great question. When it's in the modifier, Luna will drop mini power-ups when she kills zombies. One of these drops is a mini max ammo, which normally when picked up, gives you 1 magazine of ammo back. But since the gauntlets don't have magazines and all its ammo is technically in the same mag, it'll give you a max ammo in your hands every single time you pick up a mini max ammo. Moving on to one of the most hated zombies maps, Alpha Omega. A lot of people hate this Easter egg, but I've always found it to be pretty fun. One reason why people hate it is because of the red Novacrawler step, but after you learn these tips, you'll never struggle with it again. One thing you can do is you can call him the Atom Unit, and he will assist you on this step. He won't kill the red Novacrawler, but he will go after zombies, so you can use him to help you beat it. On top of this, you can use the teleporters on the Novacrawler as well. Build it before this step, then place one pad right here in between houses D and F, and then start the step. When you find the Novacrawler, lure him to the nearest teleporter, whether it's in the generator room, the beds, or the diner. Lure him to the closest one, and when he's standing directly on top of the teleporter pad, place the pad down to teleport him. From here, you can easily escort him inside the house. Like in Ancient Evil, you can get high rounds at Alpha Omega really easily, but instead of going through the rounds, you can instantly jump to round 200. To do this, you first have to unlock Rushmore, and then after that, make your way to the Nuketown population counter and kill zombies until it goes to 15. Once it goes to 15, don't kill any more zombies. If it goes under 15, keep killing zombies and it'll cycle its way back through. Once the population counter says 15, look at the clock behind it and wait for it to turn to 1. Once it's at 1 and the population counter is at 15, make your way to the backyard of the yellow house, and inside the shed here should be the purple orb. If there is, buy the debris and escort it. Eventually, it'll reach the top of the APD room. After it goes in a TV, buy the Bowie knife and melee the TV. Doing so will give you a code. When you're ready to go to round 200, get down to 1 zombie and enter this code into Rushmore. And finally, interact with Rushmore to start the Easter egg. Now this is cool and all, but here's where things get interesting. On Black Ops 4, the hardcore and realistic difficulties have something called insta-kill rounds. And it's pretty self-explanatory what they are. Every zombie on these insta-kill rounds will be a one-shot kill to every weapon. And it just so happens that on hardcore mode, both rounds 200 and 201 are insta-kill rounds. So again, you can take whatever weapons you want in here for basically a permanent insta-kill. The only downside to this is it'll trap you inside the OG Nuketown map layout, so everything besides the green and yellow houses are blocked off. So I'd recommend doing this on hardcore and pack-a-punching either the MX-9, the ICR, the Trebuchet, or the Spitfire, since they are all wall buys here, and enjoy the chaos for the next 2 hours. On Tagged or Toten, you can also do a round 200 Easter egg. To do this one, you have to freeze yourself in every body of water in the map. Here are all 10 areas you need to freeze in. Once you freeze in all of them, there will be a button in spawn. Hit it when you're ready to start the round 200 Easter egg. Like in Alpha Omega, the game will trap you in the spawn room, but in this map, you can get out of the area they put you in. If you crouch and walk into this hole in the wall, you can get to the other side. Now, once you get out of the spawn room, the game will occasionally give you death barriers, so be careful of that, but once you're in this area, zombies will still go for you here, and you can go buy more ammo for whatever weapons you're using. Because of this, I would strongly recommend that you camo grind doing this. The only downside of this Easter egg is you need to stay on the run or you'll start to freeze, but with it being round 200, I don't think this will be an issue. You can use the dash ability on the sword to jump this cliff, and also dash up the ice slide. Also, you can use the Ragnaroks to jump up here from the Call of Dead spawn room. You will need to clear this debris first though. And the final tip in this video is a pretty huge tip that I found, at least so I think. There is a huge quote skip you can do on this map to skip a lot of boring and unnecessary dialogue in this Easter egg. To do it, you will need Dying Wish. Next, go to the Apothecon Orb and look at it until your character says something about it. Once they stop talking and no one else in the game is talking, interact with the orb to go into Dying Wish. This will only work if no one is talking when you put yourself in Dying Wish. If your character isn't talking anymore, then you did it right. For some reason, doing this will skip most dialogue, including starting challenges.
Hey, amigo, it's me, from the lighthouse.
I set up some challenges to help you decide how much I can trust you. Believe me, you will be rewarded for your efforts. I know you can handle this.
Hermit's dialogue when he gives you the dials.
I will get right to it. You'll meet me at
And the Apothecon Blood's ridiculously long dialogue before giving you the offering locations.
Like goblins and lamp.
There are a few things you gotta keep in mind when doing this though. One is that you can never swim through this area. Doing so will revert this for whatever reason. The second thing you gotta worry about is that you can't have more than one power switch on for this to work. So you can't turn on the power at the facility or on the boat. But this only applies to when this glitch is useful, and this glitch is only useful until you get the offering location. So after that, you can disregard what I said. And there were your 40 tips to help you get better at Black Ops 4 Zombies. What was your favorite tip in this video? Let me know in the comments. Also, if you have more tips that I didn't cover in this video, be sure to drop them in the comments as well. Huge shout out to all of my members. Thank you all so much for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. If you want to become a member and get access to exclusive emojis, members only videos, and more, you can do so by clicking the join button down below or by clicking the link in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.